Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, April 6th, 2021. My name is Charles Tank Harris. I am the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I want to thank each and every one of you who are tuning in live on either Facebook or our YouTube page. I also want to give a special shout out to the overnight, weekend, and squeeze it in 15 minutes of finance, Wealth Our Way family that checks this out on a pre-recorded basis. I'm trying to speed through things today because I want to wrap this series up today. We have been talking about for the last few days the upcoming financial meltdown that your man, Charles Tank Harris, is predicting that will not only come in short order, but is going to be devastating. It is going to be a triple witching, as I like to say. You're going to see sharp stock market declines. You're going to see inflation. You're going to see unemployment. You're going to see just an overall weakening of the dollar. The debt that the country has amassed is going to come and start to rear its ugly head. And what can you do to protect yourself when it comes? Because what I will say is not all doom and gloom. We've had financial corrections. We've had bear markets in the past. We have survived them each and every time. But unlike this one, you have an opportunity to get in, unlike ones of times past, you have an opportunity now to get in front of this one. We all sit back and say, hey, I wish I would have known Microsoft was going to be Microsoft, or Google was going to be Google, or that I should have just invested in the S&P 500 25 years ago and put my money in every month. We have a chance to reset the playing field right now, especially people from the underserved financial communities, not the wealthy 1%, but the 99% of the rest of us. We have a chance to, as African Americans in this country, close the racial wealth gap. We have a chance as women in this country. And I say we because I'm the father of 5 beautiful girls and the stepfather to 3 beautiful women as well. And the reality is that they, as women, have been paid less than men, have seen glass ceilings and opportunities that keep them away from the wealth of their male counterparts. And, it's just time for all of this to stop. I am a man of inclusion. I'm a man of diversity. I believe, and yes, maybe it's easier for me to be about diversity because I come from one of the discriminated groups in this country, but I'd like to believe, just as some of my mainstream white friends believe, that it's all love. It doesn't matter what group you're a part of. We're all one, and we can get this knowledge. So let me go right to the script, the share screen, and get us on today's lesson. I told you have to prepare emotionally for what's coming up. Yesterday, I told you had to prepare mentally. Today, I give the jewels. Today, I teach you how to prepare fiscally, because that's what it's all about. Getting your money right to go through this tumultuous period that is about to go down. The first thing you need to do is update, or if you haven't ever done it yet, create the following. You need to take a risk tolerance assessment. Now, you can go online and you can type in the words risk tolerance, and you can be bombarded with different websites that will give you questionnaires that you'll answer some questions, and it will tell you what you are as far as your tolerance for risk. What does your tolerance for risk mean? Your tolerance for risk means when you see your investments going up and down, like good sex, probably shouldn't have said that, but when you see your investments going up and down, you have the wherewithal to stay the course. You have the wherewithal to see it through. So you do not want to invest in things that you don't have the stomach to stay in. And that's measuring your risk tolerance. The second thing you need to measure is your personal time horizon. How long until you need the money that you're putting into investments? How long until you need it back? What is your time horizon? That is different for everybody. Some people come to me, hey, I'm buying a house in 2 years. I need to put away my money that I'm buying my house for. I would never advise that person to put their money in something that could go down in value. They don't have enough time for it to come back. Conversely, if someone's telling me, Tank, I want to prepare for retirement and it's 35 years away, I would never tell them to put their money in something very, very conservative like a CD or a money market account because it's not going to grow adequately. Time horizon plays a very big part in making sure you're fiscally prepared. The third thing is a three-legged stool. And if you have a stool and you only have two of the three legs, it will fall over. The third leg is, what are you trying to accomplish? What is your investment objective? Some people's investment objective, believe it or not, is just not to lose money. It's to stay where they are. I talked to a woman a few days ago. She's most likely going to become a client. She has $7 million, I want to say, that she's amassed. She's retired early. She was a neurosurgeon. She's retired early. I want to say she may be 53, 52. And she's like, hey, Tank, I'm good. You know, my house is paid off. My kids are already, she has two kids. They're already done with college. I just want to make sure that I can withdraw from this portfolio and never outlive it. So we're structuring things to make sure that happens. So you need to know what your risk tolerance is, what your time horizon is, what your investment objectives are. Now, let me go. I'm going to dip into the screen share for a minute because I have to move the terminology down. And then I'll go right back to you guys seeing what I'm seeing. The second thing you need to do is you need to solidify these three things. This is it. It doesn't get, I tell you guys a lot of simple information on here, but there's a saying, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. You know, as another acronym that I like to use, BGO, blinding glimpse of the obvious. I've had people watch this program and hit me up later on. Oh, you're not telling me stuff I didn't already know. Cool. Congratulations. Are you doing what you know? Because I know eat less, exercise more. I'm still a big boy. So just because it is simple doesn't mean it's easy. One of the things that I work hard to do here at 15 Minutes of Finance and throughout Wealth Our Way, and by the way, you can take your risk tolerance assessment at www.wealthourway.com under the resource tab. There are all calculators, and one of the calculators will be a risk tolerance computation. So I always forget to blow us up. You know, I'm out here giving for the people, and I always forget to tell you how to get to Wealth Our Way. So you need to solidify these three key tools if you are going to be prepared for this apocalypse that's going to hit us. What is your asset allocation? What if you don't know what an asset allocation is? If you don't know what an asset allocation is, you're new to the program because I've talked about it 100 times. I'll revisit it right now. I'm going to keep it very high level and say the three major asset classes. What is an asset? An asset is something you own of value. When people are talking about their investment portfolio, they're talking about three major asset classes. There are a lot of subclasses, but the three major ones are stocks, bonds, and cash or cash alternatives. Stocks, bonds, cash. It used to be a very simple formula people used. Based on your age, you would subtract your age from 100. If you were a 40-year-old, 40 from 100 is 60. And that was the percent of your money that you put into stocks. And then you would take the other 40%. And if you were aggressive, you would take 35% of it and put it in bonds and 5% in cash. That is a vanilla, simple way to get an asset allocation. I say you got to do a lot better than that, and that vanilla way won't work for you. You need to get professional assistance or at least go online and research these tools. After you have your asset allocation, you need to create and solidify your investment policy statement. People sometimes confuse an investment policy statement with an asset allocation, and I can see how that can happen. Because what an investment policy statement does is it gives rules to your asset allocation. Let's go back to the vanilla example I just gave you. 60% stocks, 35% bonds, 5% cash. That is your ideal asset allocation. But what happens when your stocks start to just go straight through the roof and you're making a bunch of money in your stocks? And your portfolio is growing. So now your stock portfolio is 70%, your bond is 20%, and your cash is 10%. what do? Do you let that keep happening? Do you say, hey, I got to immediately go back to my old allocation and do what's called rebalance my portfolio? Your investment policy statement is what you refer to when that happens, and it gives you your rules. When you do an investment policy statement, in the rules, you put ranges of what is an acceptable range for each asset class. You may say something like, I never will own less than 25% of my total portfolio value in stocks, and I'll never own more than 70% of my total portfolio. And you would do the same for every class. One of the key things I put into all of my clients' investment policy statements are references to single stocks, single holdings. People have a tendency to get emotional about their investments. They have a tendency to fall in love with their particular investment, especially if it's done well, especially if they've had it for a long time. And I have to remind people, you want to get emotional, get married or get a puppy. Don't get emotional about your investments. Your investments have one objective: to get you wealthier. That's it. They're not supposed to make you happy. They're supposed to get you wealthier. One of the biggest risks that people take in their portfolio is being too concentrated in one position. So I may tell my clients, never have more than 7% of your total holdings in one particular stock, bond, or area. The third thing that you have to do, you have to solidify, especially in this time that's coming up, is a firm dollar cost averaging strategy. For those of you who are part of a retirement plan at work, you're already dollar cost averaging, even if you don't know what this means, because dollar cost averaging is committing to putting a set amount of money into an investment at a set time interval with no concern for what's going on in the world. So the market can be going straight down. You have chosen to put $500 into the portfolio every 2 weeks. You're putting $500 every 2 weeks. The market could be going straight up. If you committed to putting $400 every 2 weeks in, you're putting $400 every 2 weeks. You're not sitting around thinking that you're a genius, thinking that you got a crystal ball and trying to guess, oh, you know what? The market's been going up. It costs too much. I'm not going to buy today. Or, yo, the market's horrible. It's going down. I'm going to get out. Or I'm going to sell my house and put more money in. No, you have a plan. Now, what I will say is any good dollar cost averaging strategy, very similar to the investment policy statement, it can have some flexibility. It can have some range where you say, especially on the downside, hey, if the market's going straight down, but I only commit $500 every 2 weeks, I have a rule that says if the market is down, let's say 10% from the last time I purchased, I'll increase this purchase by 10%. So instead of $500, I'm going to put in $550, because the number one rule of investing is buy low, sell high. So if you loved it at 80, you adore it at 70. You really want to get into it at a lower price point, because your long range expectation is that it's going to go up. So why not lower your cost basis? The third thing that we have to do fiscally to survive and thrive in this upcoming, this financial tsunami that's on the way, is we have to stay the course. You have to follow these rules that I have laid out for you, or rules that you have laid out for yourself or found from someone else, and believe in it. I love the movie Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington, when he was telling his defensive coach that he just met that he runs the Veer offense. He said, the Veer offense is just like Novocaine. You give it enough time, it always works. You have to put together a plan that over the course of time, you have enough faith in, because of time-tested principles, that no matter what's going on, you stay the course. It is when everyone else is losing their head around you that you must stay calm. So that's the wrap on this series. I told you that the harm is coming. The storm is on the way. I've given you the tools to prepare to get through it. Please visit. Oh, let me shout out the Clubhouse 15 Minutes of Finance Nighttime Edition. Wealth Our Way Club just reached its 100th member earlier today in a very short time. So I want to shout that out. And I also want to let you guys know that, I will be holding a webinar this month that I'll let everyone know when it is, because I want to continue to give you guys good information. So with that being said, remember our motto: wealth is not only for the wealthy. I will see you tomorrow with a new topic. Take care.